Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Umagyanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. So here we have seen how Kardama has already met the Lord, and that is super fantastic. Krishna has assured Kardama of what kind of future he can expect. He already told him that he is going to have 9 daughters. And then Krishna said he's going to come as the son. So now Vidura is actually wondering. We stopped here where Vidura is asking Maitreya, like, how could Kardama directly see Vishnu? The scriptures say that the Lord is Adokshaja, one who is never perceived by material senses. So Maitreya replied, my dear Vidura, you also saw Krishna. This is because you, like Kardama, are a great devotee. Those who have practiced bhakti in the proper way and whose senses are thus purified of material contamination can perceive the Lord. Others cannot. Vidura's heart surged with love at the remembrance of Krishna. And Maitreya resumed his narration. While Kardama stood looking on, Vishnu left by the Vaikuntha pathway, which is extolled by the liberated souls. The sage stood entranced, listening to the Samaveda hymns created by Garuda's flapping wings. After Vishnu's departure, Kardama continued to live by Bindu Sarovara. In the meantime, Swayambhuva Manu, along with his wife Shatarupa, mounted his chariot, which was decorated with golden ornaments. Accompanied by his daughter, he traveled across the earth. On the very day foretold by Vishnu, they reached Kardama's hermitage. After the sage had just completed his vow of celibacy. At that time, the river Saraswati flooded the sacred Bindu Sarovara. Hosts of eminent sages came there to worship the lake and drink sweet water. Vidura raised a hand. Maitreya had originally described how Kardama performed penance on the bank of river Saraswati, not Lake Bindu Sarovara. He asked, when and how did Bindu Sarovar appear and why is it sacred? Maitreya replied, if you remember when Vishnu was speaking to Kardama, he shed tears. These became Bindu Sarovar, whose nectarian water cures all material diseases. Wow, let's pause there. That's amazing. By even having darshan of the Lord and the emotions created thereof can create a water body that can cure all material diseases. Oh, I would very much love to go and dip in that water. Any comments or questions? Would you like to continue reading?
I can read, yep. Is it from the top, Vidura?
Yeah.
Vidura remembered how the river Ganges is similarly considered sacred because it is Vishnu's perspiration falling from his toe. Since the Ganges and Bindu Sarovar both came from the Lord's spiritual body, they are transcendental and worthy of worship. Maitreya continued, the lake's shores were surrounded by clusters of auspicious trees and creepers, rich in fruits and flowers of all seasons. They afforded shelter to pious animals and birds. The area resounded with joyous bird song, broadcasting Vishnu's glories. After drinking honey, intoxicated black bees hummed loudly. Gleeful peacocks danced, and cuckoos called one another. Bindu Sarovara was adorned by flowering trees such as Kardama, Champaka, and Ashoka, as well as young mango trees, all producing fragrant flowers. The melodious cries of waterfowl and cranes made the surrounding area amenable for spiritual practice. The lake's shores abounded with musk deer, emitting an intoxicating aroma. Roaming nearby was a sacred breed of wild cows known as gavayas, whose tail hair is used in temples to fan the deity. Other breeds of deer, as well as boars, porcupines, elephants, baboons, lions, monkeys, and mongooses also abounded. It was in this beautiful setting that Swayambhuva Manu found Kardama. Listen now as I describe their meeting. Kardama poured the last ladle of ghee in the sacrificial fire. The ritual completed, he returned to the shaded entrance of his simple hermitage and sat in a yoga asana. His body shone brilliantly in the early morning sun as he recalled his recent encounter with Vishnu. Remembering Vishnu's affectionate sidelong glance and his pleasing words, which were like cooling moon rays, his heart melted. Since their meeting, his body was no longer emaciated. As Kardama sat in yogic trance, Swayambhuva Manu's chariot rumbled to the outskirts of the clearing. To avoid disturbing the many yogis inhabiting the area, his army set up camp there. Accompanied by his wife and daughter, Manu carefully drove his chariot into the clearing. Devahudi saw the tall sage first. Despite his disheveled appearance, his handsome features disguised him from the other ascetics. Struck by his large eyes, which resembled lotus petals, she pointed him out to her parents. The emperor beamed in delight. Although the sage was clad in rags and seemed soiled, he looked like an unpolished gem. Devahudi was right. This was surely Kardama. He perfectly fitted the description they had heard. Instructing his wife and daughter to stay in the chariot, Swayambhuva approached the sage on foot and fell prostrate before him. Hearing a deep voice offering homage, Kardama opened his eyes. A powerful warrior, his head adorned with a golden, jeweled-encrusted crown, lay before him. His outstretched hands touched Kardama's feet. The visitor rose to his knees with folded palms and lowered head introduced himself. Holy sage, know me to be Empress Swayambhuva Manu, your humble servant. Kardama raised his right hand in benediction. Introducing himself in return, he welcomed the emperor. Swayambhuva said, O saintly one, today I am successful because I meet in person the form of powerful austerity. The sage replied, it is I who am successful after seeing you, who Vishnu has empowered to protect the universe. The two men sat in silence for a few moments. Swayambhuva wondered how he should put his proposal before Kardama. The sage, remembering Vishnu's prophecy, Kardama spoke first, addressing the emperor in pleasing tones. My lord, your tour is surely intended to defend the virtuous and kill the wicked. Since you embodied Lord Hari's protecting energy, I offer you my respects, as you represent Vishnu. O Emperor, you resemble the gods in your good qualities. You are majestic like the sun god, famous like the moon god, and invincible like the fire god. Like Indra, you are lord of all. You enter everywhere like Vayu, the wind god. You punish the sinful like Yama, the god of death. You protect the righteous like Dharma, the god of religion. And like Varuna, the god of water, you are deep with hidden treasure. Mounted on your victorious jeweled chariot, you traverse the earth like the brilliant sun. Twanging your fearful bow, you head the army whose trampling feet cause the earth to tremble. By your very presence, you instill fear in the wicked. If not for you, all the moral codes of an ashram created by Vishnu would be broken by rogues and rascals. Mighty Emperor, if not for your vigilant protection, unrighteous men who hanker only for money would be unimposed. Tormented by the greedy actions of such sinful men, the world's population would be destroyed. Although I know you travel to inspect your kingdom, I think there must be some special reason you have stopped at my hermitage. Kindly tell me the purpose for your visit. I shall do my best to fulfill your wishes.
Okay, pause. Okay, that's a super interesting series going on here. Both are waiting for each other, and Kardama is a little bit clueless at this point. Why Swayambhu Manu is there? It's kind of like a cute scene, cute scene of the future father-in-law looking for the son-in-law, and the son-in-law being very diplomatic in his approach. And any comments, any points? Yeah? It's amazing though that Manu had to go all around the world trying to look. That's like, wow, nice father. No wonder the Shastra says father will protect the daughter, and then the husband will protect, and then the son will protect. And you're talking about this kind of father, right? Nowadays, it's not like that. Manu is like, I mean, fathers are so busy these days. Like, even like I'm thinking of some devotee fathers, they're always busy doing service. They're not thinking of who the daughter will marry. The daughter wants to study. Oh, fine, go ahead, do it. It's not the age today to like think of, oh, who will my daughter marry, and prioritize that. And I'm just thinking, Manu never complained. Oh, I'm busy, I can't come around look around the world for a. I mean, I have to do so many other things. He didn't say that. Just that's his duty, and he's doing it. So I wish more fathers would be like that. Oops, what happened? Chapter 22. Let's see the time. Okay, we have time. I don't know who is in here. Is Rasastali Mataji there? I can't see when I'm sharing this. So
yes, I'm here.
you're there, Mataji. Welcome.
Yeah.
So Taruni is there. Welcome back, Taruni Radha. Either of you likes to start reading? Both of you can read a little bit, Taruni and also Rasastali Mataji. Sage,
I can see
chapter
the
22.
can see to make it big. Yeah. Thank you. Sage Kardama marries Devakti. Swayambhuva bestows his daughter upon Kardama after she accepts a sage's difficult stipulation. Matthew describes the unparalleled happiness in Parishmati, Swayambhuva's capital, and the method by which anyone could experience such joy. Swayambhuva felt anxious. Would the Brahmin entertain marrying a girl? Next page, please. Who's marrying a girl who was born in a Kshatriya family? Still, the sage was surely aware of the symbiotic relationship between the priestly and warrior classes. Taking a deep breath, the emperor began to address Kardama. Lord Brahma is Vedic knowledge personified. To propagate that knowledge from his faith, he created Brahmins who shun sense gratification and possess austerity, wisdom, and mystic powers. To protect the Brahmins, he created Kshatriyas from the arms of his thousand-limbed Rupa form. It is said the Brahmins are Vishnu's guide and warriors his arms. Brahmins protect Kshatriyas by power of their austerity, and Kshatriyas protect Brahmins by their physical strength. Thus, the unchanging Supreme Lord protects them both. By hearing from you, any confusion I may have had regarding my duty is resolved, for you have clearly explained the Kshatriya's obligations. Holy One, it is my
lot of
good fortune,
disturbance.
Holy One.
Yeah, I
It
also
is
don't, it's not very clear. There's a lot of disturbance.
okay, maybe you can read that, Mataji, Rastali Mataji.
Mhm. To protect the Brahmins, he created Kshatriyas from the arms of the thousand-limbed Virat Rupa form. It is said that the Brahmins are Vishnu's heart and the warriors his arms. Brahmins protect Kshatriyas by the power of their austerity, and Kshatriyas protect Brahmins by their physical strength. Thus, the unchanging Supreme Lord protects them both. By hearing from you, any confusion I may have had regarding my duty is resolved, for you have clearly explained the Kshatriya's obligations. Holy One, it is my good fortune to have met you. Those who cannot control their senses rarely have such an opportunity. I am grateful to have bowed my head into your blessed foot dust. I am most fortunate that you have instructed me, and I thank God that I attentively heard you. Kardama bowed his head. The emperor's deep humility was disarming. The sage encouraged him to state the purpose of his visit. With folded palms, Swambhuva said, Great sage, please hear my humble request. I am troubled by affection for my daughter. He looked toward the chariot where beautiful Devahuti waited with her mother, Shatrupa. Kadamba glanced at her impassively but said nothing. Perspiration pricked Manu's brow. Perhaps he should tell the sage of Devahuti's illustrious siblings. My daughter is the sister of Priyavrata and Uttanpad. She is seeking a suitable husband in terms of age, character, and good qualities. When she heard from Sage Narada of your noble character, learning, handsome features, youth, and other virtues, she fixed her mind on you. Manu paused. The sage sat peacefully, neither looking at Devahuti nor showing any reaction. Trembling slightly, Manu said, Please accept her, O chief of the Brahmins. I trust your ability to protect.
Let's pause there. This is like the best romantic novel ever. Doesn't get better than this in this material world, in all its glamour and color of purity and the innocence and the storyline going about in the best way possible. Because this kind of story is it's like the perfect, really like the perfect love story. Because Krishna is in the center, they both have the dharma as their priority, and they're both looking to have a attitude of service in each other's company. So this is like the best romantic story that is possible in this world. And see, so that therefore Mahabharata and Srimad Bhagavatam, they have all kinds of genre, right? So romance as well is all everything else in the material world they copy and try to make movies is all based on shastric inspiration. So I'm enjoying this romantic, like it says here, although like Manu is describing Devahuti's qualities, Kardama is not even looking at her, right? It's like so sweet. Any comments, any questions?
I wonder, like, why he's he's like so unmoved. Because anyway, Vishnu had told, right? Like, she's the person you're supposed to like accept, but then like he's not showing any feeling at all towards.
I mean, imagine, this great sage who has been doing so much austerity, sense control, and everything, and he's going to fall for this immediately. So there is a sense of tension in terms of like, okay, indifference, right? So in one sense, it's also qualification of this great sage that he can be indifferent. I mean, we know the story later, right? For many years, he was quite indifferent. He wasn't enjoying with her. It's not like, oh yeah, oh, I looked at her and I swiped to whatever it is, right or left, I forget, sorry. But yeah, oh, I liked it and I looked at her and then I flirted and then we met and then we had kids. It's not like that. No, the story is like it stretches and stretches. The loyalty and the attraction is a completely different class. It's
Yeah,
a
he was a
different level.
brahmachari also, no? He was a brahmachari. Tadamuni.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but like Taruni's question is like Vishnu had already predicted all this is going to happen. So why does he look so unmoved and indifferent? Why isn't he like, oh, this is the moment what Vishnu said is happening? Why wasn't he eager? Because I'm saying that there's an external and there's an internal, right? Internally, probably he is moved, but externally he has to pose himself, has to play the character. And the character is he's a saint who has done austerity and sense control for so many years. And he's not going to act like that. So that's high class. I would say it's like high class. Because nowadays, I remember when we go to say some store and I like some sari or something, and my husband is like, don't act too excited. So sometimes it's like internally we may be moved, but externally we want to kind of keep it together, right? We don't want to like show that I'm too excited about it. So I mean that's the drama here. That's the drama here. Something else I wanted to say, in the material world, people are not qualified. They jump the qualification part and they just want to immediately get to their love story. But obviously, the more qualified you are, the more intense the story can be. The less qualified people are, my grandmother used to say, don't, like, people nowadays, they cram in 25 years of romance in 6 months, right? And then the magic is gone in the relationship. Whereas in the traditional Vedic stories, what we see is like it continues years and years and years. There is respect, there is honor, there is dignity, there is purpose. So modern day situation is like we cram in 25 years of romance in 6 months. So why he's not moved externally, why he's not showing that he's moved, is because they had the strength to stretch the experiences to long times and not just blow the steam off immediately and be done with it. It's very subtle. It's very like high class, I would say, high class way of keeping the experience. It's not the destination, but rather the journey, in one sense, in the modern context. Of course, he's moved. That's the point I wanted to make. He is moved, but he's not. He isn't showing it. Okay, you want to continue?
Yes. I trust your ability to protect her, and she too is qualified in every way to manage your household. Kardama closed his eyes and sat silent for a few moments. Manu pressed his hands together. He knew the sage wanted to marry. Why did he seem so disinterested? You should now reject my daughter on the plea that you are a detached ascetic. Hearing that you seek a bride, I came here. Please do not conceal your desire. Still, Kadama said nothing. Manu's tone was imploring. To deny an offering that has come of itself is not commendable, even for one completely detached. What to speak of someone who desires the offering? The most respectable form of marriage is when the father offers his daughter to a suitable man. It is humbling for a man to beg the father for his daughter. Therefore, now that I am offering you a suitable girl, you should accept her. Since you desire to marry, If you reject my offer, you will be obliged to ask someone else for a wife. They may not be so respectful towards you, and you will be humiliated. How do you know I desire to marry? Manu replied, I have heard this from the Supreme Lord who appeared to me. O wise man, I know that till now you have practiced celibacy, but since you have not made that your lifelong vow, you can accept Devahuti as your wife. Kadama turned towards Devahuti, standing by her father's tall steeds, gently stroking her manes with her slender fingers. She chatted with her mother. From time to time, she laughed charmingly and threw a fleeting glance in his direction. Kadama admired the sheen of her youthful face, framed by curling black tresses. The sage turned back to the emperor. Certainly, I desire to marry, and your daughter has not yet married nor given her word to anyone. Therefore, a marriage according to the Vedic system can take place. His face broke into a wide smile, and he placed a
Mhm.
friendly hand on Manu's shoulder. Let your daughter's desire for marriage, which is recognized in the Vedic scriptures, be fulfilled. He looked again at the princess. A baby deer was playing in the nearby bushes, and she was excitedly showing her, her mother. She ran toward it, her lithe and graceful movements captivating him. Her ankle bells tinkled, and her dark eyes darted here and there, trying to see the deer hidden in the bushes. Kardama sighed. Who would not accept her hand? She is so beautiful that by her bodily luster alone she excels the beauty of her ornaments. I have heard the Vishwasu, the great Gandharva, fell from her airplane after seeing your daughter playing with a ball on the roof of the palace. I can surely understand how he became stupefied, for she is indeed captivating with her tinkling anklets and restless eyes. What wise man would not welcome her, the very ornament of womanhood, the beloved daughter of your good self and sister of Uttanpad? Those who have not worshipped the goddess of fortune's gracious feet cannot even see her, yet she has come of her own accord to seek my hand. Beaming with joy, Manu touched the sage's feet in respect and hurriedly rose to give his wife and daughter the good news. Kadama put a restraining hand on his arm. I have one condition. After she has borne me children, I shall accept the renounced order of life, which is without envy, to immerse myself in devotional service to Krishna. This is Lord's order. Manu's shoulders slumped, knowing that Brahma had ordered Kadama to create progeny. He had thought the sage would dutifully remain a lifelong householder. Would Devahuti accept this condition, which would soon leave her widowed? Kadama could see the emperor's discomfiture, but he was determined to attain spiritual perfection. This meant giving up family life at the appropriate time. He looked the emperor firmly in the eye. My highest authority is the unlimited Supreme Lord, from whom this wonderful creation emanates, and in whom his sustenance and dissolution rest. He is the origin of us Prajapatis. Kadama fell silent, thinking of his revered Vishnu, from whose navel grows the cosmic lotus. A serene smile brightened his handsome features. Manu released a long, low sigh. Plainly, Kardama would not change his mind. Rising slowly, he returned to his wife and daughter. Kardama followed.
Okay, let's pause there. We remember when Vishnu did say all these things and described Devahuti, immediately Kardama's worry was like oh my God, what if I become too attached and then lose my sense of purpose and then become too attached and forget you? And then Vishnu assured him that's not going to happen. So that he's very fixed. As much as he is in the Grihastha ashram, he's aware. So I was thinking this is important realization for all of us too, that we will be in this family life. We will have properties and money and jewelry and children and the joys that come along with it, the pride of belonging to a certain family. All these things will be there, which are natural for a human being to feel pride and to feel happiness, to feel security. Or we may belong, whatever, in a particular community, or we may take the responsibility of a service. So it may be family, it may be service related titles. But the point is, that's not eternal. These are all just temporary states that helps us to find some fulfillment in this phase of life. But our actual goal, our actual purpose is Krishna. So there is nothing wrong in enjoying life for Krishna. There's nothing wrong in being grateful to Krishna for all the benedictions and blessings, but to always be aware and not to be in the illusion that this will be permanent or this is me, or to define our sense of identity and our sense of self-worth with our relationships. It's not that with relationships we are more worthy and without relationships we are less worthy. It's not that with more titles and with whatever greater service that you get a status in the society, it doesn't mean that we are we're going to be more fulfilled, or it's about the purpose. And so it doesn't matter. I was reading a purport by Prabhupada where he says it's not the condition of life that actually a devotee doesn't get affected by the condition of life. The devotee is always looking at the situation and say, this is Krishna's arrangement. Both. When we are in unhappiness, we say, this is something there for me, Krishna wants me to learn. But when also there is happiness and great blessings, we say, this must be Krishna's will, and I must gratefully accept this and let this nourish me, and like that. So both sides of realities are there. The positive reality of accepting our benedictions and not try to run away, but keeping in mind that this is not permanent. The only permanent thing is our relationship with the Lord. And these are all like different engines of the train. It helps us in our journey, and we should be of service in their journeys, but it's not the permanent, it's not connected with our permanent identity. These, at the same time, it doesn't mean that they are not important or relevant or meaningful. So this is important balance we can see in this particular pastime. So he's admiring her beauty. He's saying, "Wow!" He's not just like he's not completely indifferent. He is a young sage attracted to this woman, and she's also very clever, right? She identified the right guy. She didn't fall for some muscular guy who looks attractive on the outside. She also has a good choice. Both are there. So we will stop here for today, the reading. Thank you very much. May stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam